guys, today I'm filming the third update for my year-long makeup project Pan. It's been about 2 months since my last update, and also I'm really not loving my makeup today. I'm trying out a new foundation and I think the color of it is throwing me off. I like my eye makeup. I really don't like this lip combo, but I decided like don't fool with it. Just leave it on. I feel like it's making my teeth look rather yellow, which nobody likes to see that. So apologies if I look a little bit of a mess today, but we will start with my empties. I do have 6 of them. First is the Milk Makeup Pore Eclipse Mattifying Primer. And this is something that I absolutely loved. Going into working on this, I thought it was just gonna be okay, but I really enjoy this. I think it does mattify the skin without making my makeup apply or wear off in a patchy way. I do still get oily throughout the day, but it is managed better with this. I already have a backup, thank goodness. If not, I would have purchased it. So the weights for this project went from 1.766, 1.130, all used up 0.431. Then we have the Never Ending Concealer, the Tower 28 Swipe Up Serum Concealer in BU, which was the second shade. I am happy to see that there is not really much excess packaging here, and it lasted me ages. I love this flat paddle applicator. It's great for like shellacking on product. I really fell in love with this concealer. I wish that they would expand their shade range a bit, because I think that somewhere between the lightest color and BU would be perfect for me. This is fine, but I usually like something a little bit more brightening, but I would, you know, end up repurchasing this shade. I think that this is a great medium coverage, more of a satiny finish. I love that serum-y consistency. I feel like this formula works so well with either skin tints or more full coverage foundations, which is very impressive. So I'm loving this. I will repurchase this at some point, but I need to get through some other things. And I was weighing this with the stopper. The weights went from 1.406, 1.373, 1.274, and 1.193. Last update, I had finished up my Makeup by Mario Cream Bronzer, and now I have finished another one in just a couple months, which is amazing. The Tower 28 Sculptino Embro is the lightest of the 4 shades. This color does not work for me. It's a little bit too yellow. And this formula is fine. I think it went onto the skin fine. It looked nice, but this is dewier than I like. And I actually feel like it's a little bit oilier of a texture that is harder for me to wash out of my brush. But I also just purchased like a new brush cleaning product, so I'm hoping that will help. But it feels great to finish this. I know it didn't come with a ton of product, but this is now my third liquid cream bronzer empty of the year. I have a picture of where I was at last time, and the weights on this had gone from 1.486, 1.454, 1.407, and 1.324. Then we have something I have been working on all year long, the Sarah Happ lip scrub. This was in Sparkling Peach. It also comes in Brown Sugar. Unsure if there are other scents as well, and this comes with ½ an ounce, so it was so much product, which was fantastic. And this is something that I really loved. I would really love to have it again. This is something I gotten as a freebie from Flip, which was awesome. I will always use up a lip scrub if I get one, but I don't necessarily think it's a must-have in my routine. If you do have a lip scrub and you have a hard time making yourself use it, do it in the shower. It's mess free. I will do this and then my face cleanser so I can remove any of like the oily residue. Amazing. So the weights went from 1.551 to 1.347 to 1.181 to 0.998. And this is something where I was tracking the uses. I may have missed 1 or 2, but I got what I have tracked as 50 uses out of this, which is fantastic. So next we have a couple of lip products. This is something that I have brought in at my last update, and that would be this Natasha Denona lip liner in Daphne. All used up. We'll have to insert a picture of where I was, but I had brought this into the end of my spring project, used it all throughout summer, and I had essentially a almost brand new full-size lip liner. I had never been sharpened. It was basically like right above where you would first sharpen it, which is amazing. So it really shows how creamy this formula is, which might not be your preference. As I've said a bunch of times, I'm a therapist, so I put on lip product before each of my sessions, which means that I might be applying lip product 4 to 8, sometimes 10 times a day if I'm crazy. So I reapply lip products a lot more than the average gal. So that took me about 235 uses to get through. Then I used up this little mini Buxom lip polish in Ryan. This is the most gorgeous pinky coral. If I had a smaller collection, I would buy this again. This one did have a decent amount of pigment for being a lip polish, whereas I find the lip creams to have a bit more pigment, but this was really nice. The Buxom formula is that nice cooling minty sensation that I love. They are a little bit sticky. One of the only sticky glosses that I don't mind using, but I end up with these not needing to reapply as much, which is good in a sense, but you know, a bummer for panning. But the weights on this had gone from 0.785 to 0.761 to 0.715, and my tracked uses for this would be 66. So very happy with all of those empties. And a lot of those things were in my summer project pan. I did just post my fall project pan intro, so I'm hoping to knock out some more of these things. Last update, there were a lot of products that I told you that I hadn't really worked on, so I just ended up removing them from the project. It would be a lot of those different powders, specifically some of the setting sprays and whatnot. So we have a lesser group of products today. I hope this isn't too repetitive with my other projects or boring, but you know, apologies for that, and thank you for watching. But before we get into it, I did want to mention a couple more things that I am going to be actually just decluttering from my collection. One of them is the Milk Makeup Concealer. I'm just giving that to my friend Jean. I think it was a fine product, but I wasn't in love with it and I would rather pan other things, so I pass that on. And then I have these three lip products. So this is the Dior Lip Glow Oil in pink. There's so much product in here, which is great for your money. I didn't love the texture of this. When it wore away, it felt a little bit sticky. It just didn't do anything for me, so I would rather pass it on to someone who would enjoy using it. And I'm doing the same thing actually with this Kaja Gloss Shot in Honey Drizzle. I think this would be relatively easy to use up, and part of me thought about it, but my friend Amelia actually really loves these glosses, and I have a lot of other things to work on, so I'm just going to pass this on to her. And then I was, if you'll see in my fall intro, trying to work on this Rowan Liquid Lip Balm in Charlie, but this is a clean beauty brand and I guess it's expired. It doesn't smell bad, but after a day of reapplying it several times, the next day I felt little bumps on my lips, and then the day after that it was like totally dried out. My lips were so dry and cracky. It felt very uncomfortable, and I have basically just put balm on so much. I've exfoliated them a couple of times until I ran out of my lip scrub, and now they're feeling a little bit better. But after what I did with those Natasha Denona lip glosses, I told myself I'm not going to do it, even though it makes me so sad. I wish I used it sooner. I wish I didn't get a backup. So this has to go in the trash, unfortunately. But I did have a little bit of progress here. I had gotten 38 uses out of the lip oil. Jean's not going to care, but let me tell you the progress here. So with the Dior lip oil, it went from 1.291 to 1.272 to 1.247. The Kaja gloss, I had just used this here or there. Basically, I would put this on if I was going to have a session where I didn't have any other makeup on, because it was such a light nude shade. So the weights went from 0.980 to 0.971. And then for the Rowan Liquid Lip Balm, it went from 1.099 to 1.083, which is pretty good because I only used it for a day and a half maybe. So unfortunately, this has to go in the trash, but the other two are going to better homes. Okay, so now let's get into the progress on the rest of my items. So I have one primer still in the project, the Hourglass Vanish Airbrush Primer. I had used a lot of this in spring. It won't settle, so I still have product up here at the top. And also at this point, unfortunately, the nozzle here is clogged. I've tried to dig it out and it helped a little bit, but I've basically just been taking the top off and putting the product in the back of my hand and applying it that way, so that's gonna be fine. And this will definitely be done by the end of the year, which is fantastic. We'll see how long, but I'm feeling very confident about that. The weights went from 3.689 to 3.360 to 3.029 to 2.947. Then we've got just one foundation here. I took out the Estee Lauder Skin Tint because I'm not going to have time for it. I have the Too Faced Peach Perfect Comfort Matte Foundation in Swan, making great progress. You can see I am down here, so I think this will be finished by the end of fall, which is great. I've been loving every second of this. Weights went from 2.746, 2.340, 1.958. Then I got a little bit of use out of this. The Drunk Elephant Debronzy Drops. The weights went from 1.268, 1.222, 1.208. I'm kind of wondering whether should I just add in a drop every day with my foundation to get through it. That sounds really silly, but I might. We'll see what happens, but I think that I might, just to, you know, be done with it. I have another bronzing product. Then this is a combo that I told myself that I was going to take a break off of from summer because I wanted to have not as much product under my eyes. So I would love to finish these. I don't know if it's possible, but we will see. So the combo, I need to leave this one setting up so it can settle. Hopefully this is the Rare Beauty Under Eye Brightener in Light mixed with the Huda Beauty Color Corrector in Peach. So you can see this is finally leveled. So I'm all the way down here, which is awesome. But this is a very, very pigmented product. So I need just one dot of this. So the weights on these went from 1.265, 1.261, 1.223, Huda 1.110, 1.106, 1.093. And then the concealer I had left was the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in 12 in Fair Neutral. And I have used this a little bit, but I actually am going to just move this to next year's project. My progress went from 1.011 to 0.993. And I want to see if there's a concealer I might be able to finish by the end of the year. And I'm thinking maybe this. I think this is my best bet, I should say. The Hourglass Vanish Concealer in Creme. It only has 6 mils or 0.2 fluid ounces. And this has 10 mils. So I would love it if I could finish this up, although I only used it a couple of times before bringing it in. So this is going to be a roll-in. Starting weight is 1.197. We'll see what happens there. Then for my powders, I brought these in last update. Under my eyes, I'm using the Laura Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder Tone Up in Rose. It's really difficult to see through the packaging. I have 3/4 of this left. I don't think I'm going to finish it, but I just want to make as much progress as possible. So the weights went from 3.750, 3.676, 3.482. Then this will be done by next update, which is great. This is what I'm using to set my face, the Makeup by Mario Surreal Skin Soft Blur Setting Powder. I have like 1/4 of this left. I have the color number 2, Neutral Light. Weight went from 2.248 to 1.795. Then I actually think I can finish this, which is so exciting. This is my Iconic London liquid highlighter in the original shade. I've been using this all year just on the top of my cheekbones under my foundation, and I've got some very consistent progress here. So this does stand to be an empty, which would be the biggest accomplishment ever. I had that in here just for fun. So the weights on this went from 2.413, 2.351, 2.239, 2.158, and 2.094. Then for my facial sprays, I am using MAC Fix Plus as my primer spray, and I did make some pretty consistent progress. This won't be finished by the end of the year. This will roll into next year, which is totally fine because I was using the Milk Makeup Hydro Grip spray for my primer spray for, you know, the beginning part of the year, and I actually am now able to finally weigh it. It's starting at 3.831 ounces. Then for my setting spray, it's in this Urban Decay bottle, but it is the Milk Makeup Pore Eclipse setting spray, and I am weighing this without the caps. It feels very light now. I probably have less than a half for sure. I'm not sure if I quite have 1/3. Yeah, well, I think I can feel confident saying 1/3. So this is weighing at 1.941 ounces. So a huge difference in weight to the MAC. So this probably will be finished by next update as well, which would be amazing. Then we've got my few eye products, which would just be my shadow sticks here. So in this jar, I have what was in the base of Laura Mercier Metallic Taupe. I also have, oh, I didn't bring it out. I also have a chunk of amethyst in here and a like the tip broke off of my Half Magic Beige Mystique and Too Faced Fairy Dust shadow stick. So I mixed those all together to get this. There is a ton of product in here, so I actually don't think I'm going to be able to finish both of these by the end of the year. I would like to try my best. I'm keeping them both in so that I can choose this if I have a lighter lid shade and this if I have a darker lid shade. I'm wearing this one today. This is Bobbi Brown Golden Bronze, and I will dig out the base for this one as well. So not very much progress. Again, I don't think I'm going to finish them both, which is really disappointing, but I'm going to try my best. I definitely wasn't the best over summer because I had other shadow sticks that were a better shade match. So I'm gonna try my best to get through those. Then we have lips. So for my lip mask at my vanity, which I use when I'm putting my makeup on and at night, this is the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask in Peppermint. I'm definitely not finishing this because I was working on the Lawless for a lot more time this year than I expected. So I am right here. Tons of this left. I've used one up before. I know it takes ages, and this is the limited edition peppermint scent that they bring back every holiday. So the weights went from 2.073, 2.060, 1.922. Then for my purse lip balm that I brought in last month to replace Jack Black, that would be the Summer Fridays Lip Butter Balm in Sweet Mint. I'm loving this. You can see that's an insane amount of progress. So I'm hoping that this can be finished by next update as well. I'm really loving this so much, and I actually do think that I would repurchase this. I do think this is nice and hydrating and glossy, and the weights went from 0.734, 0.722, and 0.532. I do know, however, that this is really different from the Jack Black formula, because after panning that for so long, when I started using this, I was like, oh wow, that's thin, and now I've like readjusted to it. I am going to bring in right now another lip balm replacement. We'll see. I mean, I think I'm going to get to it this year. I don't think I'm going to finish it, but that's okay. I actually had purchased that the same month as the Summer Fridays, the Laneige Lip Glowy Balm in Peppermint, to match this. So I think this is from 2 years ago. And this has less product to begin with. The Summer Fridays has 15 grams and Laneige has 10. So the starting weight for this is going to be 0.565 ounces. Then for my colored lip products, this is also something that's going to be in my purse as a balm type product that does have a little bit of tint. This is the Milani Fruit Fetish Lip Oil in Cranberry Currant, which was a limited edition shade, and I'm about to here. And I've used this like twice. So it's starting at 0.950 ounces. We'll see what happens. I'm okay if this goes into winter. We'll see. You can see I kind of have a whatever attitude right now, but I'm okay with that. Then for lip products, what I have left would be this ColourPop Lippy Pencil in Little One. I've used it a little bit here and there throughout this year, but not really enough to make any markings, but I do think that I can finish this completely. And for a lot of summer, I had been working on the Fenty Gloss Bomb Cream and Fenty Glow, and this is a huge lip gloss. It has so much product. It has 9 mils, so almost as much as the Tarte Concealer, which is 10 mils. So this is way more than other lip products, so it's been taking me so long, and I may or may not finish this. I kind of want to use something else, and I will keep this around depending on the color because it's different from the other 2 fall colors I want to work on. The weights went from 1.268 to 1.266 to 1.153, and so far I have tracked 96 uses on that. And then the other fall lippies I want to work on, I showed you this in my fall project intro, but I'm bringing this one in as well to replace that Rowan. And actually for work the other day, I did the lip liner and then both these glosses together, and I think that was nice. So it just kind of is going to depend on my vibe. But this is a mini of the Buxom Lip Polish and White Russian Sparkle. I wasn't able to make myself declutter this, so I told myself I need to finish it this year to justify keeping it, which is another reason why I'm letting go of the Kaja. And this is starting at 0.770. Then this is one of my other oldest glosses, my Maybelline Lifter Gloss in Stone. I love this color. This is a nice a little bit more cool tone option, but it's not so gray. I think that this could also still go with warm tone looks. So this has a lot of products as well. It's starting at 1.689 ounces. Let me see how much is in here. 5.4 mils. So half of what was in the 50. And this has 2 mils. So that is my plan. I'm feeling pretty decent about this. There's a lot of things I'm not going to finish, but I'm going to do my best. So I would be curious to hear your guys' thoughts on the way I'm going about panning these items and my plan for the rest of the year. I would love to know what items you're working on, what projects you're doing. Thank you all so much for watching this. I would appreciate any love on my other project pan videos that were posted before this one. And thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.